Great players can use their individual skills to create collective advantages. This sentence sums up well the role of the number dense. The more repertoire a team has, the more it can generate tactical superiority. And by repertoire, I mean the ability to play inside the opponent's block, outside the block, in wide areas, building from the center backs, using long balls, etc. All this repertoire can be provided by the technical abilities of the players. A player who specializes in receiving in central areas between the defensive lines, a player who specializes in winning duels in wide areas, players with the ability to drop back and find a forward pass to create a goal-scoring opportunity, others with the skill to attack the space behind the defense to receive through balls and finish on goal, among many others. You can have several players with roles that complement each other and give the team this repertoire. Or you can have one player who brings together all these aspects, a generalist who adapts and provides the team with what it needs depending on the game situation. In this video, we are going to explain tactically how a player can perform this role and what he needs to be the team's thinker. But before going specifically into the role of the number dense, we need to align the concept of tactical superiority, which is what the number dense will try to provide for his team. It is useful to classify tactical superiority into 5 types. You may see different terms out there, but the idea is basically the same: positional, numerical, qualitative, dynamic, and socio-affective. This socio-affective type is the chemistry between players. We will not go into detail about it in this video. As for the other 4, we will explain each one of them. Positional superiority can occur when a player is in the right place, in the right way, at the right time. It is when the player is well positioned in space, with proper body orientation and a clear angle to receive the ball. This gives him time, game vision, and options to act. For example, when an attacking midfielder is positioned between the opponent's defensive midfielders and center backs, facing the goal, ready to receive and speed up the play. The goal here is to create connections and progression with safety and control. Numerical superiority is basically having more players than the opponent in a part of the field. This superiority is often used to play out from the back, build up, and progress safely. For example, 3 defenders facing 2 forwards pressing gives more freedom to find passes and play out. The goal is essentially to control the game and lure the opponent to open spaces. Qualitative superiority is when you have greater technical, physical, or mental capacity than your marker. Even with numerical and positional equality, a player can decide the play through individual quality. This is a type of superiority often used to break balance in 1v1 situations. For example, a fast and skillful winger facing a slower and more predictable fullback. The goal is to create imbalance through individual talent. And finally, dynamic superiority is simply being in motion, at the right time with space to accelerate, while your direct opponent is stationary or moving more slowly. It happens when a player moves at speed at the right moment, catching the opposing defense off guard. This may be the most dangerous superiority, often leading directly to a goal. For example, imagine a striker running in behind the defensive line at the exact moment a through ball is played. You could say he is in dynamic superiority. The goal of this tactical situation is to break the defensive line with movement and perfect timing to avoid being offside. Now that we understand tactical advantages, we can move forward and say that the player who performs the role of the number 10 is responsible for reading the game, understanding the situation, and deciding which tactical advantage will benefit the team at that moment. One of the players who currently performs this role masterfully is Cole Palmer at Chelsea, whether in the 4-2-3-1 implemented by Maresca in his first season with the Blues, or in the 4-3-3 he used many times in the Club World Cup. But let's take as an example Maresca's 4-2-3-1 in his first season at Chelsea. Palmer played in this central position of the line of 3. But when Chelsea had the ball, he was usually moved slightly to the right side, opening space for Enzo Fernandez to push forward and form a pair with him between the opponent's lines. Palmer is absolutely lethal in this area, whether to finish or to assist, which already creates a qualitative advantage on its own. But his positioning in this region offers inside progression alternatives in a position that is advantageous. But for that, he needs to place himself as a passing option in the correct posture, giving a positional advantage. However, Not every situation will provide a positional or qualitative advantage, so the numerical advantage is an alternative, and sometimes Palmer could drop to the right side to help in the build-up, overloading the opponent's left side, giving Chelsea an extra player in that area and enabling the creation of other types of more advanced advantages. This is, in fact, a case where the number 10 can act or use his skills to put his teammates in advantageous situations. An interesting example was Brazil's national team in the 2022 World Cup, where Neymar played the role of number 10. Neymar's tactical role was for the functioning of the Brazilian team because his presence was essential to isolate the wingers, Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha, in one-on-one situations against opponents, creating qualitative advantages. The team would look for Neymar, who could drop deeper to help in the early build-up phases, in addition to being completely free to move in the space between lines, which allowed him to generate positional and qualitative advantages through his unique ball-carrying ability that, when it happened, drew the marking into central zones and freed up space for the wingers one-on-one, which was another vital tactical point of that team. Being able to read the game to understand what the team needs at each moment, thinking about which type of advantage will be most suitable for each situation, requires a very high cognitive level. This is a key point for the development of a number 10's maturity. We have two crucial abilities for this role: technical skill and game understanding. The first is more innate, present in many young players, but the second often requires a bit more maturity. The two players we have mentioned so far in this video started out as wingers and gradually became number 10's. Neymar is a good example. From a young age, he was already capable of breaking one-on-one situations, which gave the team the chance to create qualitative advantages over and over again. Over time, he became a midfielder, a number 10, who plays more centrally. Playing more centrally, receiving between the opponent's defensive lines, and being able to create positional advantage requires not only technical skill, being able to control the ball fully from the very first touch, but also anticipating the opponent's actions. This area is extremely pressured, right? So the player who will receive the ball here needs to anticipate how the opponent's block will react and where the pressure will come from. This requires a quicker thought process, which time and experience help develop, especially if done consciously. Once he identifies the situation, he can position his body to shield from the pressure and direct his first touch away from the opponent's reach. Another example of an extremely skillful player who used to create imbalance from the wings, generating qualitative advantage, and who, after maturing, started to create imbalance all over the pitch, generating other types of advantages for his team, was Dembele. And speaking of Dembele, he is proof that being a number 10 has more to do with function than with position. PSG plays in a 4-3-3, where Dembele is the most advanced player, a false 9. He is a key piece for PSG, as a large part of Luis Enrique's game philosophy is precisely the creation of the advantages we've been talking about in this video. And Dembele is the joker player, the one who reads the game and creates tactical advantages according to what the game demands. The Frenchman still has the ability to drift to the wings to make individual plays, but the difference he brings to PSG is the way he floats around the pitch, often creating numerical advantage in midfield, positioning himself behind the opposing midfielders and also generating positional advantage. If you like this video, you will probably also like the one appearing on the screen right now. I recommend watching it right away. Big hug and see you next time. Cheers.